Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank be chopping, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, so what we're going to be doing on this cut is we actually going to be leaving the length on top. We're going to be doing a mid fade on the side, mid-fade on the sides. We lining up the front. No enhancements on this cut. I know a lot of people will be saying your boy can't cut without enhancements, so I'm finna show y'all a haircut with no enhancements. But jumping straight into this haircut, as you can see, I'm actually using my Wahl seniors this time. You know, getting my clipper guru on, but I'm using my Wahl seniors, and the number 4 guard that I got on my clipper right now is the Gamma Dubs, and I'm using this number 4 to debulk the sides. And as you can see, once I get closer to that long hair, I start floating my clipper up and out. And the reason why I'm doing that, guys, is it makes it a lot easier to not leave a line. And if I do happen to leave a line, it's going to be an easier line to take out. So that's the good thing about floating your clipper. And I do that a lot with longer hair. Normally, I don't use a guard longer than number 4, and that's how I basically get it to fade into the top when I do short, like a short number on the sides. So we're just gonna be going around the whole head with this number 4. However, on the left side, as you can see, she has the part right there. I am gonna be going shorter on that side, but I just wanted to debulk the whole sides with a number 4 first. And as you can see, I'm using the comb right now to send in. I'm using the comb to feed in the hair. Alright guys, so now that that is done, I'm taking my FX3 trimmers and I'm going to be setting in my bald guideline. And we are going to be doing a mid fade, so I'm not going to go too high. I'm going to keep it, in the range where I do my mid fades. And I like to do them a little lower than normal, and the reason for that is, guys, I like to stretch my fades out a lot. I'm not big on compressed fades. I've said it in earlier in other videos and tutorials, but I like to do mine, nice and stretched. So I don't like to take my fades up too high. But once again, we are going to be dropping it in the back slightly, so I did bring it down in the back just a little bit, not too much. Alright, so now that that is done, what I'm doing here is I'm taking my FX3 shaver and I'm getting everything on the sides down to that skin, that bald level, as bald as we can get it. I always confused on how to say that, but I'm balding it out, getting it as short as we possibly can, getting it down to skin, super bald, razor, whatever you want to call it. We're using that shaver to get it all the way down, and I'm coming all the way up to that line, but the closer I get to that line, I start to relieve pressure and flick out. I know a lot of people are scared to do this because they don't want to leave a harsh line, but if you flick out and relieve some pressure, it makes it a lot easier to fade that line out. So now what you see me doing on this side, guys, I'm just putting in some hair clips, and you don't have to do this, but I do it because her hair is, really long on top, and I want to make sure I get that out the way. I don't want to cut any of that hair, off. So now I'm going in with my number 3 guard. I started with my lever open, and I'm coming up to that basically where the part goes. She wants, she likes this side shorter. So I'm taking the 3, and I started off with it open, and then I closed it also. And I went right below that. And now this is my number 2 guard. And I'm starting with it open, basically just fading into that number 3 that I did. And I'm still using a slight flick out motion. I want some gradients there, but I do want it also to be nice and short. And so now I'm just closing my lever and going right under what I did with my 2 open. Alright, so now that the debulking process is done, I'm going to actually start doing some fade work. Well, I did a little bit of fade work, fading down. But y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to actually go into this haircut and start fading out this bottom line. So I'm starting off with my clipper all the way open, and I'm going to be coming up about 3/4 of an inch or so. And as you can see, I'm using a slight flick out motion. Now, even though I say that I'm using a slight flick out motion, I don't want y'all to like overthink that and like think, oh, you got to flick out a lot, because you don't. You know what I'm saying? Just open your clipper, come up, and once you set that line in, you can use the slightest of flick out motions, just so it doesn't leave a harsh line. And technically, you don't even have to do a flick out motion. You can just come up, but I do it just because it's just I've just grown accustomed to doing that. Y'all probably saw it, but I didn't say it. I closed my lever halfway, and now I'm coming halfway into this section, trying to fade this down, and then I close my lever a little bit more here, and I'm coming right below that, and then I'm gonna close it all the way and attack that bottom line. And I know this may not take out that line completely, and that's totally fine, guys, because remember, if it doesn't, I can always come back in with my trimmers later on in the haircut if needed. But y'all will see me doing a lot of detail work here. I'm going to be adjusting my lever, doing some lever play. And the reason why I'm doing that is, as you can see, there is some discrepancies already. Her hair doesn't fade in really easy. It's not super hard either, but she does have some darker areas where her hair is denser. She's got like some little dents in her head also. So it's going to take me a good amount of time to fade that out, but you want to just take your time and adjust that lever as needed. So now my next step is using my number 1 guard with the lever open. And I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch also, still using that slight flick out motion. But remember, guys, don't overdo the flick out. You don't got to oversell it. You just slightly raise some of that pressure or relieve some of that pressure when you come up. So I'm setting in this guideline, and I'm going over it a couple times, guys. I like to be really consistent when I'm setting in my guidelines. Alright, so now I have my 0 guard or my 1/16 guard, whatever you want to call it. I have it all the way open, and I'm coming into this section basically almost to where I came with my 1 guard open. It's a little bit below that, and the reason why I'm doing that is because this basically makes it a 1 guard, and your 1 should fade in really good to a 1 open. So I am using a flick out motion just to make sure I don't create any dark areas or any discrepancies or any lines. And then as you saw me do there, I closed my lever halfway, and I brought where I'm fading, I'm coming down a little bit. So I'm basically doing some down fading in this section, and then I'm gonna close my lever all the way and attack that bottom line. And for whatever reason on this haircut, it didn't take out this line 100%. There are some discrepancies and some dark areas after I close this lever all the way and hit that bottom line. But I'm just gonna have to come back and detail it, use just my clipper open, and that's perfectly fine, guys. Like, that happens sometimes. Different hair texture and different hair densities fades different, so you can't use the same. You can use the same exact steps, but it might look a little different every time, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so now I'm using my number 2 guard again. I think this is my 2 guard. I don't want to lie to y'all. I believe this is my number 2 guard. Nah, this is my 1.5. Okay, so this is my 1.5. I started with my lever open, and I started, attacking the top of that section, and then I closed it all the way, and I'm hitting that them dark areas and just trying to clean all that up. And that basically faded into what I did with my number 2 guard earlier. And now I'm back with my number 1 guard doing some detail work and cleaning up. So technically, I've done all my steps except for get rid of that bottom line. And as you can see, there is still some discrepancies in this cut. There is still some dark areas that I need to detail. So I'm going back in and doing my detail work, just cleaning everything up, trying to get this fade to come together. So that was my number 1 guard. Now I'm going back in with my clipper open. And I'm just hitting up these dark spots, guys. I'm using some corner blending. I'm barely flicking at these lines, adjusting that lever as needed. And this happens sometimes when you're cutting hair. Like, doing those steps sometimes isn't enough. Like, sometimes you're gonna have to go back and detail. Some clients are gonna need it more than others. And on this particular hair density and hair texture, it took me a little while, a little more than normal, but we got it done. And all I did was basically just follow my process. I use my mirror a lot, because that's really gonna be your best friend when you're doing these types of haircuts. Well, haircuts that are harder to fade in. If a haircut is really hard to fade in, remember, guys, use your mirror, change your guards as needed, use that lever, but also pay attention to what you're doing, so that way you know not to go too high with a certain guard or a certain clip or whatever. You want to make sure you're just tapping at these dark areas and not trying to create any more lines. You're just trying to get rid of them dark areas and them dark lines. Shout out to my boy Tito Beats, man. All these beats, or except for like the last one or the last two, I'm not 100% sure, but most of these beats are brand new beats, man. He's dropping that heat. Y'all make sure to give him a follow on Instagram. I believe his Instagram handle is @_Tito Beats. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, Tito Beats Productions. And yeah, man, he's the one that be supplying your boy with these beats. And now I'm going in with my X Evo, and as you can see, I'm just trying to get rid of that bottom line. And for whatever reason, guys, I have my X Evos set up perfectly, like to get rid of that razor line until my clippers closed. So I really use my X Evos a lot for getting rid of that bottom line. Alright, so now we're gonna go back in and we're gonna use our liners. We're using the FX3 trimmer again, and we're gonna set up this line in the front, set up this edge up. And as you can see, I'm starting off in the middle of the head. I always like to start my edge ups in the middle. I set it in the guideline, and then I just work my way over.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
And as y'all can see, even though I'm lining up my client now, guys, there are some dark areas in this fade. And I say that a lot because, like, I'm being 100 with y'all guys. I don't give the best fade from the jump. Like, I do a lot of detail work, and some barbers don't. Some people, they just, you know, their system is, I don't want to say foolproof, because I don't believe any systems are, but for whatever reason, my technique, sometimes I have to go back and do detailing, and that's perfectly fine. But what I'm doing here is I'm just setting in that line, that hard part with the trimmer. And I know it's not gonna be 100% perfect, but that's cool because I'm gonna come back in with the razor at the end of this cut and clean it up anyways. So now that lineup is in there, I can see this fade a little better, and I'm just detailing it, you know, using different guards, using some lever play, just going back and putting some finishing touches on this side of the fade. Alright guys, so now we moved on over to the right side, and as you can see, I'm using my number 4 guard. I'm just doing some more debulking, cleaning this side up a little more. Now I am going to use my color guards on this side just so I can see and y'all can see a little bit of what's going on. This is my 3 guard, same thing coming right below what I did with the number 4 guard. But I just felt like I can see better what I'm doing with my color guards, and I feel that y'all can follow along better. But not just that, I wanted to show y'all that I can put out a good product using 2 different guards. You know, I think my next haircut video, I'm probably going to do it using different clippers. But nonetheless, guys, I just want y'all to know that, you know, that name, the Clipper Guru, you know, I'm trying to live up to that name, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give y'all good content with all different clippers, different guards, and just to show y'all that I like to follow my same steps, and no matter what guard system I'm using or what clipper I'm using, I can give out a good product. So I use my clipper open, my number 1 open, and now this is my number 2. I'm not sure if I opened it and closed it, but for the most part, this is my number 2. And I'm just fading into that longer hair on top. And now this is my 1.5 guard, and I'm cleaning up that line between my 1 and my 2. And here is my 0 guard, or my 1/16 guard, my half guard, whatever y'all call it, guys. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm cleaning up that middle line. And I'm going in with my lever open, and then I'm gonna adjust my lever closed little by little. And each time, the more I close it, the more that line should become erased. And see, the thing about this type of hair texture, guys, is she has curly hair, but it's not like super curly. So fading it in can be, you know, it can be hard if you don't do it properly. So what I like to do is I like to create like a little shelf. You know, I went up with a 4, and then the rest of that hair is just gonna sit on top of that, but still look faded because it curls up anyway. So if I sit there and try to fade it in perfectly, it's not gonna look right. You know what I'm saying? So y'all see when I get done exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so now I'm going back in. I'm trying to get rid of that bottom line. I'm using some lever play in that section. And I've told y'all before, guys, most of the time the second side of my fades come out quicker and better. And I think it just has a lot to do with me like relearning their hair and how to fade it in on one side and notice what the hair does on one side, and I know exactly how to attack it on the opposite side. Alright, so now we're gonna clip over, or not clip over, but we're gonna clip up this hair in the front. That way, you know, we don't cut any of this hair off. And then all we're gonna do is finish up this lineup, make sure it's nice and straight. And remember guys, when you're doing edge ups, a good thing to do is you can stand behind your client, well, face them towards the mirror and stand behind your client, hold their head straight, and you can see if the lineup is straight. Use your mirror a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can even pull out your phone if you have to, and I know sometimes that helps. Pull out your phone and see how the haircut and the lineup look on your phone, and sometimes that will tell you if it's straight or not. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm using my blending shears, and I'm just using this technique a little bit. I don't want to take off too much bulk from this because, you know, she likes that longer hair on top, but I'm just doing it so that it fades into the sides a little better. Alright, so now that is done, I'm just going back in, doing some more detail work. You know, I like to line them up and then go back in and clean everything up. And after that, that's basically done for my steps. And once again, guys, you can detail as much as you need. It can be, you know, just for 5 minutes. It can be for 30 minutes. You know, well, I wouldn't say detail for 30 minutes, but it can be, you know, a quick 5 minutes. It can be 2 minutes. It can be a little longer. Whatever is, you know, is easier for you to get your haircuts to come out good. What I like to do most of the time is I just start with my biggest guard, clean up that area a little bit, and then work my way back down. Alright, so I didn't record the back, but as y'all can see, I didn't add no enhancements on this cut. I'm not going to add any enhancements on this cut. All I'm doing is I'm getting all these lines nice and sharp with that razor. Remember guys, when you're doing razor work, you want to make sure you stretch your client's skin tight. That way it lessens the chance of you nicking your client. Now I'm not saying it's going to be 100% foolproof, but it lessens the chance. And you know, we ain't trying to nick our clients, so I believe that's a good thing to do, just to make sure, you know, give yourself a better chance of not nicking your client.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Alright guys, so check it out. This is how my girl Maria walked into the shop looking. It's been a while. She said, hey, I know it's been a minute, but she came back, and this is how she left the shop looking. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments, guys. If y'all like this cut, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. Remember guys, if you're in the Houston, Texas area, you can book an appointment with me at my website, tankbechopping.com, or if you use Booksy, you can search me up, Tank Be Chopping. And yeah guys, that's basically it for this video. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.